subscribe, and click notification bell.
Salutations, friends and strangers of the interwebs. Welcome back to the channel, Stevie Wonder Woman. I am said Stevie. What do we got going on today, folks? I recently watched Mattisfaction's Near and Dear challenge, where he tagged me. It's a challenge that was put out there by Gene and Kayla. Shout out to Gene and Kayla. Actually, quick beverage check. Coffee. Not black like my soul, although there's some grounds floating in there. Got a little bit of creamer in today. But I am using, speaking of Gene and Kayla, I'm using the awesome cat butt coaster that Kayla made. And I think you'll start seeing this a lot. The mushroom that Kayla made for me. So, Gene put out to Mattisfaction put it out to me. The challenge is 2 knives that are near and dear to your heart, that are irreplaceable, that mean a lot to you. 1 fixed and 1 folder. And this is probably my 5th attempt at recording this. My 2 selections are very near and dear to my heart, and sparked up a little bit more emotion than I expected. So it's been a challenge in that sense of the challenge as well. But I'm going to try to just power through this, and if I get choked up and you hear Stevie start to sniffle a little bit, well, that's just Stevie being Stevie, and I can't help it. But I'll try to minimize that. So let's start with the fixed that is near and dear to my heart. Here we go. This specific knife is not the actual knife that I'm going to be talking about, but it is the replacement to that knife. So, my grandparents lived in Indonesia for a while during the late 80s, early 90s. And when they came back from Indonesia, they brought a whole bunch of awesome stuff back for all the grandkids and their kids. And so basically all my aunts and uncles and all my cousins got some stuff. One of the things they brought back for me was a knife. I've always been into knives. So I'm talking like this, I'm probably 9 years old when they brought this back. And the knife itself, so this is an exact replica of the knife. So they had these made in Indonesia. They're nothing fancy at all. You can see the marking on there. I believe INA is for Indonesia. Will that focus? Turn on the light. Will that focus on that? That's the only marking on it. This is a dagger style fixed with a half serrated edge and this kind of what is that, a gut hook or something? I don't know what the handle material is. I don't think it's ivory or anything. It does have this little like kind of pommel on the butt end, and then the guard here. This is nothing fancy. It's nothing fancy whatsoever. It came with this sheath. Just a basic leather-than sheath that's barely better than cardboard. Not like our homeboy Lancelot leather sheaths, by any means. So, I got this, so they gave me this fixed blade. I was 9 years old, and I used it all the time. It went everywhere with me on all my hikes. I would either put it on my belt when I would go out and do stuff, going fishing or whatever, or I actually carried this as a boot knife. Tucked into my boots with a strap around my leg, and I would pretend like I was Jack Burton, and I would pull the knife out of my boot. And it held up well. I would bring this camping with me. This would be my camping knife. I would use it to stab into cans. I would use it to literally clean fish, carve wood, hack up stuff. I don't think I really ever did any true batoning with it, but it was awesome. And then one day, I was probably, I think I was like 17, so I had had it for quite some time already. I was out at Mount Rainier on a camping trip with a couple buddies, and did something really stupid. My buddy was crossing a river. There was a big log that had fallen over, and he's like, "Hey, toss me your knife." Like an idiot, I took it off my belt. I was standing on the other shore, and he said, "Hey, toss me your knife." And I said, "You're going to catch it, right?" I said, "Of course I am." So, with it in the sheath, I tossed it to him. He did not catch it, and it went into the water, into the rapid river, and there was no getting it back. It was lost. And I was devastated. That was, at the time, my prized possession. And it killed me that I lost it. And I just kind of chalked it up. Flash forward a long time later. We're going back 3 years ago now. My grandfather, my grandmother had already passed away, but my grandfather had just passed. Now both my grandparents are gone, and they're going through the estate, asking what people want, and my mom came across one final knife that they had in a chest. Okay, this is where I started to get choked up, sorry. I didn't take much stuff. There wasn't a lot of stuff that I wanted to take from my grandparents' estate. It felt weird going through all their belongings and whatnot. I have tons of fond memories of them. And my mom knew that. But she found this knife. And she knew how much this knife had meant to me as a kid, and how much I loved it, and how much I played with it, and literally it went everywhere with me. And when she found this, she said, "I'm taking this for Stevie." And she called me up and said, "Hey, I know there wasn't much that you wanted from Grandma and Grandpa's house, but I got something for you." One of the cool things that I did get was my grandfather's name placard that he had on his office door for 40 some years that he worked at Boeing. So I got that. And then she handed this to me. And sorry, all these pauses are while I try to keep it together. But she handed this to me, and it literally brought the biggest smile to my face and made me weep like a little baby, like I'm trying not to do now. It brought back so many memories, so many awesome memories. And this is absolutely near and dear to my heart. And it's nothing of a knife. I'm not going to go through and do specs or anything or try to review this. I'm not going to use it anymore. It's been since I got it in my safe. And it's probably one of my greatest possessions that I own. I wish it was still the original. I wish I would have the original one to show off and how awesome it was. And I even started to... Can Can you see that? Right there. Those are my initials, SMP. I started to carve them in just like I had done on my original one. And, yeah. I don't care how cool of a knife I currently own. I don't care about none of my knives matter to me, with the exception of one that I'm about to come up with. More than this one. And, so that's my fixed blade, near and dear to my heart. Next, the folder. This guy. This might make me cry even more. As near and dear to my heart as this is, this guy right here. This is not my very first knife. I did get like a Cub Scout Swiss Army knife when I was like 6 or 7 years old, but I lost that. And I'm out fishing one day. I must have been 7, 8 years old. I'm out fishing with Grandpa, and he wanted me to cut some line or something, and he said, "Where's your knife?" I said, "I lost it, Grandpa." So Grandpa reached into the tackle box, and he tossed me this. He said, "Don't lose this." Okay. Holy moly, what's that do? Oh! Grandpa, is this a switchblade? Don't get in trouble with it. That's yours. Okay. And I've had it ever since. And this knife is beat to hell. You can see the blade is all... I've sharpened this I don't know how many times. I've managed to not completely break the tip, but the tip is rounded on it. Lockup isn't what it used to be at all. It used to be solid. Just over the years, it stopped. It does have this little safety on it that you can toggle up that kind of turns it into a fixed. But this knife, when I say I carried it every day for the better part of 30 years, I mean it. I was recently retired from my pocket. Really when I found out what it was. But this is a knife that I had confiscated from me in school for being a dummy and just bringing a knife to school when I have no business bringing a knife to school. You know, and I'm sure I was showing it off like a dummy, and got in trouble for having it, bringing a knife to school. And I would get it back. I got in trouble. I got it taken from me from my mom for bringing it to school and getting in trouble with it. She was able to get it back. I got it stolen from me from a kid. Stole this from me. My mom went and got it back from him, like the badass mom that she was. And then even centering's completely off on it. Then even as a plumber, this knife would, there's no pocket clip in it. I would keep this tucked in my breast pocket. And this is a knife that when I just needed to cut some, a box or something, this was my go-to light duty knife. When I became an office general manager, this became my letter opener. But this has whittled many of hot dog sticks. This has made or marshmallow roasting sticks for s'mores. I've carved I don't know how many things with this knife. And Grandpa would always say, "You got your knife on you, Stevie?" "I do, Grandpa." Awesome. I never asked my grandpa where he got it. I just for years, I just kind of took it for granted. And then, again, my grandma had passed at this point, talking to my grandpa. So, Grandpa, where did you get this knife? And he said, "I got this knife as I was getting out of the service." My grandpa was in World War II. Enlisted in the U.S. Army when he was 15 years old. He was just a kid from Devil's Lake, South Dakota, that enlisted and got sent off to war when he was 15 years old. That's where he met my grandma, in Germany. My grandma grew up in Hanover, Germany, during the war. Stories for another time. But when my grandpa got back stateside, he was in New York, and he walked into a storefront selling knives, and he bought himself a knife. That's when I started looking more around at it, and I started to pay attention to the blade steel, or the markings on the steel. And if I can turn on my light there for a second, you see Schrade Walden, New York. Grandpa bought this from Schrade. He didn't remember the name of it, but I'm almost certain, with some of the research that I've done, that Grandpa bought this from the Schrade Walden store in New York City. That's where he said he bought it, from a storefront in New York. Fresh out of getting back from the war. And it was just a pocket knife to him that eventually made its way into the tackle box, which eventually made it into Stevie's pocket. And like I said, carried this for the better part of 30 years, amongst other knives. But I always had this knife, and it always had sentimental value to me. I never put too much thought into it, other than this is just one of my pocket knives. Like I said, flash forward a few years ago, talking to Grandpa, tells me about it. I'm like, oh, Schrade Walden, awesome. I didn't think too much more about it. Well, Grandpa passed away, like I said earlier, a couple years back, in 2020. And my grandpa both my grandparents were the most important people in my life, outside of my mom. No father. Grandpa was pretty much my father figure. Grandpa passed away, unfortunately. Him and my grandma are both gone now. I'm sitting there just reflecting on all my awesome times with my grandpa. And like I said, I had retired this from my pocket, and it was sitting in in my desk drawer. And I started thinking about that day that he gave it to me, and I went and got it. I started looking it up, and yeah, what I can find about it, I believe this is a 1944 Schrade Walden Auto. I think it's called like the Fishtail or something. And again, I'm not going to do specs on it or try to do a review on it. I can say that this knife has been through hell and back. Like I said, I've gotten it confiscated from me for being a dummy and bringing it to school. I have gotten it stolen from me and gotten it back. I lost it a couple times and then found it. But anytime it wasn't actively searching for it, this knife was in my pocket. And combined with this, these two are not just near and dear to my heart because I'm into the hobby, but these two knives represent getting me into the hobby and are not just my favorite knives in my collection, but they're two of the most prized possessions I own. And they mean an awful lot to me. And I'm sorry if this video was not uplifting, or I guess not uplifting. It was more on the serious note. I don't know. I didn't know how to get this out. I've been wanting to make content on these for a while. And I guess I'm showing a little bit of a vulnerable side here. But I didn't know how to talk about these knives. They do mean so much to me. And I wanted to take it a little bit serious and show these off and show the respect to, again, the man that has meant the most to me in my life. Very responsible for how I turned out, for better or for worse. And, yeah. So, I'd like to say thank you to Gene. Gene's video was awesome as well. Mattisfaction's video was awesome as well. But I'd like to say thank Gene for starting this. And I'd like to thank my pal Mattisfaction for bringing this up. As I told him behind the scenes, I've tried to record this I don't know how many times since he put his video out, and it's been hard. It's bringing up a lot of memories, good memories, but emotional memories. And again, I'm sorry if this isn't the normal energy that I'm bringing. How can we take this video that seriously when all of a sudden we got a cat asshole winking at me? Oh, thank you again, Kayla, for that. That's going to remain on my desk. It will always make me smile. It's just a normal coaster. And then wink! So that's it, folks. That is my near and dear challenge that I have accepted on my folder. Or my fixed and my folder. I don't know who I'm going to nominate next. Alright. I am going to nominate my buddy Gonz of Gonz Reviews. I'm going to nominate Brandon Thrasher, douche number 3. And I'm going to nominate Grumpy Grunt. Those are going to be my 3 tags. So, thanks if you made it through this video, watching this. This video has meant a lot to me. And I appreciate you getting through this with me. And it's a sorry, not sorry for being a little more on the serious side and choking back some tears. But I said kind of early on, you can go to voicemail. I think this shows, though, that I am not new. I am not new to EDC, everyday carry. I'm not new to knives. Knives are literally something that have been a hobby of mine my entire life. I'm 42, almost 43 now. Got my first knife when I was 6 years old. So, am I the foremost authority on them? No, I'm not. I think that shows in my reviews. But, knives mean a lot to me. And that's why I collect them, and I get enjoyment from them. And I hope this, I don't know how much you learned about me in this, but, yeah, it is a hobby, but it started off a long time ago. And so, this is why I get so much enjoyment out of it. And again, these 2 knives right here represent the journey that I've been on through my collecting. So, again, I really do appreciate it. What do you think of the new mat? I just got a new mat. I wanted something until I eventually get a Lancelot leather mat. I figured I would use this. I got tired of having the cloth and whatnot. So, anyway, Again, I really do appreciate you guys checking out the video. Please don't forget to subscribe right there. And don't forget to like that video right there. And in the meantime, I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.